Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the USS Defiance looking out at the stars. His ship was far from Earth, further than any human had ever traveled before. The year was 2387, and humanity had finally built ships fast enough to explore beyond their home area of space. Jake was a tall man with gray hair and tired eyes. He had been in space for most of his adult life. Now at age 52, he commanded the most important mission in human history. His job was to find other intelligent life in the galaxy and see if they were friendly or dangerous. The Defiance was not just a warship. It carried 200 people, including scientists, soldiers, and engineers. The ship was 300 meters long and had the best technology humans could build. It had powerful engines, strong shields, and enough weapons to fight if needed. Dr. Lisa Carter walked onto the bridge. She was the ship's expert on alien life. Lisa was 38 years old with brown hair and smart green eyes. She carried a tablet computer in her hands and looked excited. "Captain, you need to see this," Lisa said. She showed him the tablet screen. "We're picking up strange energy readings from the star system ahead of us. These aren't natural. Someone built something big out there." Jake looked at the data. The numbers showed massive structures orbiting a distant star. The energy output was incredible, far beyond anything humans could create. "How big are we talking about?" "The largest structure appears to be the size of a small moon," Lisa replied. "And there are dozens of them. Captain, whoever built these things is far more advanced than we are." Ryan Blake, the communications officer, turned from his station. Ryan was 29 years old and had been listening to radio signals from space since he was a child. His job was to find alien messages and try to understand them. "Captain, I'm getting something else," Ryan said. His voice sounded worried. "I'm picking up encrypted transmissions. The signals are moving in patterns like fleet movements. Someone is coordinating a lot of ships out there." Jake felt his stomach tighten. First contact with aliens was supposed to be exciting, not frightening, but everything they were finding suggested a massive military force. Commander Alex Stone entered the bridge. Alex was the head of the military forces on the Defiance. He was a short, muscular man with scars on his face from old battles. Alex had fought in the colonial wars and knew what real combat looked like. "Sir, long-range sensors are picking up movement," Alex reported. "We're detecting multiple large objects heading toward human space. The computer estimates 847 individual ships." The bridge went quiet. Jake stared at Alex, hoping he had heard wrong. "Did you say 800 ships?" 847, sir. Each one is over 3 kilometers long. They're moving in perfect formation and heading straight for our colonies." Lisa looked at her tablet again. "Captain, I'm reading the energy signatures from those approaching ships. Each one has enough firepower to destroy an entire planet. If they're hostile..." Jake didn't need her to finish the sentence. He had seen what human weapons could do to planets. If these aliens had technology far beyond humanity's, they could wipe out every human colony in days. Ryan suddenly stood up from his communication station. His face was pale. "Captain, I've broken part of their encryption. I can understand some of their transmissions. What are they saying?" Jake asked. Ryan's hands shook as he read from his screen. "They're talking about extermination protocols. They call us the primitive infestation and the new threat species. Sir, they're not coming to talk. They're coming to kill every human being in the galaxy." The bridge fell silent again. Jake felt the weight of responsibility on his shoulders. 200 crew members depended on him. Beyond that, billions of humans on Earth and the colonies were in danger. Alex stepped forward. "Captain, we need to warn Earth immediately. Our fleet only has 23 ships total. We can't fight 800 alien warships." Jake nodded. "Ryan, open a priority channel to Earth Command. Maximum power transmission." Ryan worked at his controls for several minutes. "Channel open, sir." Jake took a deep breath. "Earth Command, this is Captain Morrison aboard the USS Defiance. We have made contact with alien forces. Hostile alien forces. A fleet of 847 enemy warships is approaching human space. Each ship is 3 kilometers long and armed with planet-killing weapons. Estimated arrival time is 72 hours. I repeat, we are facing an invasion force unlike anything in human history. Earth Command, please respond." The transmission would take several hours to reach Earth. Jake could only hope that someone would believe his report and start preparing defenses. Dr. Carter continued studying her readings. "Captain, there's something else. These aliens have been traveling through space for a very long time. Their technology suggests a civilization that's thousands of years old, maybe more. How do you know? Jake asked. The energy patterns are too refined, too perfect. This isn't a young species learning to build starships. These are beings who have been conquering galaxies for a very long time. We might be just another planet they plan to add to their empire. Alex checked his weapon systems. The Defiance had good guns for a human ship, but against alien technology thousands of years more advanced, they might as well be throwing rocks. Captain, what are your orders? Alex asked. Jake looked out at the stars again. Somewhere out there, the largest military force in galactic history was heading toward Earth. His small ship was humanity's only early warning system. We follow them, Jake said. We stay hidden and gather as much intelligence as possible. When they reach human space, we need to know everything about their weapons, their tactics, and their weaknesses. Sir, if they detect us, Ryan began. Then we die doing our job, Jake replied. But we're going to learn everything we can about these aliens before that happens. Humanity's survival might depend on the information we gather. Lisa looked at her captain with respect. The crew is with you, sir, Jake nodded. The next 72 hours would determine whether humanity survived its first contact with galactic civilization or became just another extinct species in the vast darkness of space. The emergency meeting room at Earth Command was filled with worried faces. Admiral Kate Williams sat at the head of the long table, reading Captain Morrison's message for the third time. Kate was 55 years old and had spent her entire career building humanity's space fleet. Now that fleet seemed pathetically small. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a problem, Kate said to the room full of military officers and government officials. In 68 hours, 800 alien warships will reach our outer colonies. We have 23 ships to stop them. General Robert Hayes, head of Earth's ground forces, shook his head. Those aren't good odds, Admiral. Can we evacuate the colonies? Evacuation would take months, replied Secretary of Defense Carol Martinez. We have 12 million people living on the outer worlds. Our transport ships can't move them all in time. Dr. Paul Martinez, Carol's younger brother, sat quietly at the end of the table. Paul was head of Earth's secret weapons research program. He was a thin man with wild hair who spent most of his time in underground laboratories. Very few people knew what his team had been working on. Dr. Martinez, Admiral Williams said, does your department have anything that might help us? Paul looked uncomfortable. We've been working on something, but it's never been tested on a large scale. The risks are enormous. What kind of risks? Kate asked. The kind that could tear apart local spacetime and kill everyone in this solar system, Paul replied. But given our situation, it might be our only option. Paul stood up and walked to the wall screen. He pressed some buttons and showed a diagram of a massive machine built inside Earth's moon. For the past 5 years, my team has been developing quantum manipulation technology, Paul explained. We discovered that we can create fields that disrupt quantum-based systems. Most advanced alien technology probably uses quantum effects for power and control. Admiral Williams leaned forward. You're talking about a weapon that could shut down their ships? Theoretically, yes, but we've only tested it on small objects. Scaling it up to affect hundreds of ships across thousands of kilometers. We honestly don't know what will happen. Carol Martinez looked at her brother with concern. What's the failure rate? Computer models suggest a 67% chance of catastrophic failure. Either the weapon won't work at all, or it will create a quantum cascade that destroys everything in this star system. The room fell quiet. Everyone understood the choice they faced: certain death from the alien invasion, or a 2 in 3 chance of accidentally destroying Earth while trying to defend it. Admiral Williams made the decision. Do it. Begin preparations immediately. How long do you need? 48 hours minimum, Paul replied. But Admiral, our fleet will need to buy us time. The aliens have to be in close proximity for the weapon to work effectively. Kate nodded grimly. That means our ships have to engage them in battle and hold them here until your weapon is ready. Meanwhile, in space near Jupiter, Captain Sam Davis received his orders aboard the UES Venture. Sam was 43 years old and had commanded the Venture for 6 years. His ship was humanity's newest and most powerful warship, but it was still tiny compared to what was coming. Sam's tactical officer, Lieutenant Amy Foster, ran the numbers on her computer. Amy was 26 years old and brilliant at military mathematics. The results of her calculations made her sick. Captain, I've analyzed our combat capabilities against the approaching force, Amy reported. Our chances of survival are less than 0.003%. Sam looked around his bridge at his crew of 85 men and women. They were good people who had joined the space fleet to explore and defend humanity. None of them had signed up to fight impossible battles against alien superweapons. "Attention all ships," Sam broadcast to the human fleet. "This is Captain Davis. You've all received the same orders I have. We're outnumbered 40-1 by an enemy with superior technology. Mathematical analysis says we can't win." He paused, looking at the faces of his crew. "But mathematics doesn't account for the human spirit. We're not fighting for glory or conquest. We're fighting for our families, our children, and our future. Every minute we delay these aliens gives Earth more time to prepare its secret weapon." The human fleet spread out across the solar system, using the outer planets and asteroid fields for cover. 23 small ships prepared to face 847 massive alien warships. On the alien flagship Dominion of Stars, Admiral Vextar studied reports about the human species. Vextar was a member of the Hegemony, a galactic empire that had conquered thousands of worlds over 50,000 years. He had personally overseen the extermination of 47 intelligent species. Vextar's species looked like tall, gray-skinned humanoids with large black eyes and long fingers. They had evolved on a cold, dark world and considered themselves superior to all other life forms in the galaxy. The Hegemony had never lost a major battle. "Admiral," reported his tactical officer, "our scouts have detected the human fleet. 23 primitive vessels are attempting to form a defensive line." Vextar made a sound that was probably laughter. 23 ships? Are they serious?" "The humans appear to be using chemical rockets and nuclear weapons, sir. Their largest ship is less than 400 meters long. Our analysis suggests they achieved faster-than-light travel only recently." "Then why are we wasting time with a full fleet?" Vextar asked. "A single battle group could destroy their entire civilization." His science officer, Commander Zextel, looked up from his instruments. "Sir, that's exactly why the High Council sent the full fleet. This species developed space travel much faster than our models predicted. They may become a threat to the Hegemony in the future." Vextar nodded. The Hegemony had ruled the galaxy for so long because they destroyed potential threats before they could become actual threats. Better to kill 1,000,000 innocent beings than risk the Empire's security. "Open a channel to all ships," Vextar ordered. "Begin final approach to the human home system. Execute extermination protocols upon arrival. Leave no survivors." 847 alien warships moved toward Earth like a dark cloud of death. Each ship carried enough firepower to destroy cities, and their crews felt no mercy for the small primitive species that dared to stand in their way. The greatest battle in human history was about to begin. The battle began in the cold darkness between Jupiter and Mars. Captain Sam Davis watched his tactical display as 847 alien ships appeared on his sensors. Each enemy vessel was massive, bristling with weapons that glowed with unknown energy. "All ships, this is Captain Davis," Sam broadcast to the human fleet. "Execute dispersal pattern Alpha. Use the asteroid belt for cover and hit them fast. Make every shot count." The human ships scattered like insects around giant predators. The UES Venture, UES Liberty, UES Freedom, and 20 other vessels darted between asteroids, trying to avoid the alien weapons that could vaporize them in seconds. Lieutenant Amy Foster coordinated the attack from her tactical station. "Captain, enemy ships are moving in formation. They're not even trying to defend themselves. They think we're too primitive to hurt them." Sam smiled grimly. "Then let's prove them wrong. Target their communication arrays. If we can blind them, they'll have trouble coordinating their attack." The Venture fired its main guns at the nearest alien ship. The nuclear missiles struck the enemy vessel's hull and exploded in brilliant flashes of light. When the explosions faded, the alien ship was completely undamaged. "Direct hit, no effect," Amy reported. "Their armor is too strong for our weapons." Sam felt his heart sink, but he didn't show it to his crew. "Then we go for their engines and weapon systems. Look for weak points." Across the battlefield, Commander Joe Parker led the UES Liberty in a desperate attack run. Joe was 39 years old and had grown up on Mars. He understood how to use asteroids and gravity to help small ships fight larger ones. "Take us through that asteroid field," Joe ordered his pilot. "Let's see if these aliens can hit a moving target." The Liberty weaved between spinning rocks, using them as shields against alien energy beams. When Joe found a clear shot, He fired everything his ship had at an enemy vessel's engine compartment. This time, the attack worked. The alien ship's engines exploded in a chain reaction that tore the entire vessel apart. Joe's crew cheered as they scored humanity's first kill against the invaders. 1 down, 846 to go, Joe muttered. But the victory came at a cost. The aliens had located the Liberty during its attack run. Dozens of energy beams converged on Joe's ship, overwhelming its shields and tearing holes in the hull. Engineering reports massive damage, his first officer called out. Engines are failing, life support is dropping, and we've got hull breaches on every deck. Joe looked at his tactical display. His ship was dying, but there was one more thing he could do. An alien command vessel was moving into position to coordinate the enemy attack. If Joe could take it out, he might disrupt their formation. All hands, this is the captain, Joe announced over the ship's intercom. Abandon ship. Get to the escape pods now. His bridge crew stared at him. Sir, what about you? His first officer asked. Joe smiled. Someone has to fly this bucket of bolts into that alien ship. Tell my family I died protecting Earth. The Liberty's crew evacuated as Joe flew his crippled ship toward the enemy command vessel. The aliens fired everything they had at him, but Joe's ship was already so damaged that a few more holes didn't matter. The Liberty struck the alien ship at full speed. Both vessels disappeared in a massive explosion that lit up the darkness of space. Joe Parker died saving humanity, and his sacrifice took out one of the enemy's most important ships. On Earth, Dr. Paul Martinez worked frantically in his underground laboratory. The quantum disruption array was the most complex machine ever built by humans. It filled an entire cavern carved out of the moon's interior. Mary, what's the status on power coupling 7? Paul asked his chief technician. Mary Johnson was 28 years old and one of the smartest engineers on Earth. She had been working for 36 hours straight, surviving on coffee and determination. Power coupling 7 is operational, but I'm seeing fluctuations in the quantum field generators, Mary replied. The resonance frequency is off by 0.003%. Paul's blood turned cold. That tiny error could cause a cascade failure. The quantum field might expand beyond our control and tear apart everything in this solar system. Mary nodded. I can fix it, but I need another 4 hours. Paul looked at his screens, which showed the battle raging in space. The human fleet was fighting bravely, but they were losing ships fast. In 4 hours, there might not be any human ships left to protect. You've got 2 hours, Paul told Mary. After that, we fire the weapon whether it's ready or not. Meanwhile, Captain Jake Morrison and the USS Defiance were still hidden behind the alien fleet, gathering intelligence. Jake's communications officer, Ryan Blake, had been working around the clock to decode alien transmissions. Captain, I've found something important, Ryan announced. The alien ships all use the same type of shield technology. It's based on quantum field manipulation, just like Dr. Martinez suspected. Dr. Lisa Carter looked up from her analysis station. Ryan's right, Captain. All their technology relies on quantum effects. Their power systems, their weapons, their life support. Everything depends on quantum field stability. Jake felt a spark of hope. What happens if those quantum fields get disrupted? Their entire technological base would collapse, Lisa explained. It would be like pulling out the foundation of a building. Everything would come crashing down. Jake immediately opened a communication channel to Earth. Dr. Martinez, this is Captain Morrison. We've discovered a critical weakness in alien technology. They're completely dependent on quantum field systems. If your weapon can disrupt those fields, Paul's voice crackled back over the radio. Captain, that's exactly what our weapon is designed to do. But we need the alien fleet to be close to Earth for maximum effect. Can your ships hold them for 2 more hours? Jake looked at his tactical display. The human fleet had lost 8 ships already. Only 15 remained, and they were taking heavy damage. We'll hold them, Doctor. Just make sure that weapon works. Admiral Vextar stood on the bridge of his flagship watching the battle with growing irritation. These primitive humans were supposed to die quickly, but they kept fighting like cornered animals. Admiral, we've lost 43 ships to the human attacks, his tactical officer reported. The primitives are using kamikaze tactics and asteroid fields to even the odds. Vextar's eyes glowed with anger. 43 ships? How is that possible? The humans are more resourceful than our intelligence predicted, sir. They're targeting our weak points and using their environment as a weapon. Enough of this, Vextar snarled. All ships, full advance. Crush these insects with overwhelming firepower. No more tactical considerations. The alien fleet abandoned their careful formations and charged toward Earth like a pack of hungry predators. Their massive ships fired continuously, turning space into a deadly maze of energy beams and explosions. Captain Davis saw the change in alien tactics and knew his fleet couldn't last much longer. All ships fighting retreat toward Earth. Make them chase us through our defensive minefields. The final phase of the battle was about to begin, and humanity's secret weapon was almost ready to fire. Deep beneath the surface of Earth's moon, Dr. Paul Martinez stood before the most powerful weapon humanity had ever created. The quantum disruption array filled an enormous cavern with gleaming metal and pulsing energy conduits. Banks of computers hummed as they calculated quantum field equations that could reshape reality itself. "Mary, what's our status?" Paul asked his chief technician. Mary Johnson wiped sweat from her forehead as she finished the final calibrations. "The quantum field generators are synchronized, and I've corrected the resonance frequency error, but, Paul, I'm still reading a 12% chance of catastrophic cascade failure." Paul looked at the screens showing the space battle above them. Only 11 human ships remained, and they were falling back toward Earth with the alien fleet in close pursuit. Admiral Vexitar's forces were almost in perfect position for the weapon to target them all at once. 12% is better than 100%, Paul said. "If we don't fire now, humanity dies anyway. Begin final power-up sequence." The array's massive generators began to hum with increasing intensity. Deep in the moon's core, quantum fields started to form and merge in patterns that had never existed naturally in the universe. The weapon was preparing to unleash forces that could either save humanity or destroy everything they loved. In space above, Captain Sam Davis pushed his damaged ship toward Earth with the alien fleet right behind him. The UES Venture had taken hits from dozens of enemy weapons, but it was still flying. Half his crew was dead, and the ship's hull was cracked in multiple places. Lieutenant Amy Foster called out from her tactical station, "Captain, the aliens are moving into close formation. They want to finish us off with a concentrated attack." Sam smiled through the pain of a head wound. "Perfect. That's exactly what Dr. Martinez needs. All remaining ships maintain current course. Draw them in closer." The alien ships formed a massive wall of metal and weapons as they chased the last human vessels toward Earth. Admiral Vexistar wanted to be personally present when his forces destroyed the human homeworld. Captain Jake Morrison watched from his hidden position behind the alien fleet. The USS Defiance had remained undetected throughout the battle, gathering crucial intelligence about enemy technology. "Ryan, can you get a message to Dr. Martinez?" Jake asked his communications officer. Ryan Blake nodded. "Channel open, Captain." "Dr. Martinez, this is Morrison. The entire alien fleet is now concentrated in a sphere approximately 50,000 kilometers from Earth. This is your best targeting opportunity." Paul's voice crackled back over the radio. "Understood, Captain. Beginning final countdown. Quantum disruption array firing in 60 seconds. Jake looked at his science officer, Dr. Lisa Carter. "Lisa, you've studied their technology more than anyone. What do you think will happen when that weapon fires?" Lisa checked her instruments one last time. "If the array works as designed, it will create a quantum field disruption that spreads at faster than light speed. Every alien ship will lose power simultaneously. Their weapons, their shields, their life support, everything will shut down. And if it doesn't work, then we're all about to become very small pieces of scattered atoms," Lisa replied grimly. In the moon's depths, Paul Martinez placed his hand on the firing control. Around him, his team of scientists and engineers held their breath. Humanity's entire future depended on technology that had never been tested on this scale. "Quantum field generators at maximum power," Mary reported. "Targeting computers locked onto the alien fleet. All systems show green." Paul took a deep breath. "For Earth. For humanity. For everyone we've lost." He pressed the firing button. The effect was invisible but immediate. A wave of quantum disruption expanded outward from Earth's moon at impossible speed, washing over the alien fleet in microseconds. The wave didn't destroy matter directly. Instead, it disrupted the fundamental quantum fields that held the aliens' advanced technology together. Admiral Vextar was giving orders to his fleet when every system on his ship suddenly went dark. Emergency lights flickered and died. The artificial gravity failed, sending crew members floating helplessly through the corridors. Most terrifying of all, the life support system stopped working. "What's happening?" Bextar demanded, but his communication system was dead. All around him, 803 alien warships suffered the same fate. Ships that had terrorized the galaxy for 50,000 years became powerless hulks drifting in space. Their quantum-based technology, so advanced compared to human engineering, had become their fatal weakness. Captain Davis couldn't believe what he was seeing on his sensors. "Amy, are you reading this? Every alien ship just went dark." Amy stared at her instruments in amazement. "Captain, they're all showing zero energy output. No weapons, no shields, no engines. It's like someone turned off a giant power switch." The remaining human ships moved cautiously toward the disabled alien fleet. Emergency pods were launching from the alien vessels as their crews abandoned ship. The mighty hegemony navy had been reduced to floating scrap metal in seconds. Dr. Martinez received confirmation that the weapon had worked perfectly. The quantum cascade he had feared didn't happen. Instead, the disruption field had affected only the alien technology, leaving human ships and Earth completely unharmed. "Mary, we did it," Paul said, hardly believing their success. "We actually did it." Mary hugged her boss and started crying with relief. Around them, the entire team celebrated the greatest victory in human history. Captain Morrison brought the USS Defiance out of hiding and approached the alien flagship. His boarding parties, led by Sergeant Mike Torres, entered the disabled ship and found hundreds of aliens in emergency suits, struggling to breathe as their life support failed. The aliens offered no resistance. They were in shock, unable to understand how their advanced technology had been defeated by primitive humans. For the first time in 50,000 years, the hegemony had suffered total defeat. Jake found Admiral Vextar floating in the powerless command center of his ship. The alien commander's large black eyes showed fear and confusion as he stared at the human who had helped destroy his fleet. "Your technology is impressive," Jake said through his translator. "But you made one mistake. You built your entire civilization on quantum manipulation, never imagining that someone might find a way to turn that strength against you." Vexatar said nothing. There was nothing to say. The greatest military force in galactic history had been destroyed by a species they had dismissed as primitive insects. As rescue ships arrived from Earth, Jake looked out at the field of disabled alien vessels. Humanity had won the most important battle in their history. But Jake knew the real work was just beginning. The galaxy was about to learn that humans were far more dangerous than anyone had imagined. 6 months after the Great Battle, Earth had changed completely. The captured alien technology transformed human civilization almost overnight. Cities that had taken decades to build were now completed in weeks using hegemony construction methods. Starships that would have taken years to design were rolling off production lines daily. Admiral Kate Williams stood in her new office aboard humanity's first super dreadnought, the UES Victory. The ship was built using captured alien technology and was 5 kilometers long. It was more powerful than anything the hegemony had ever created. "Admiral, we're receiving a message from the hegemony homeworld," reported her communications officer. Kate smiled. For 6 months, the alien empire had been sending increasingly desperate messages asking for peace talks. The proud hegemony that had ruled the galaxy for 50,000 years was begging for mercy from the humans they had tried to exterminate. "Put it through to the main screen," Kate ordered. The image showed a gray-skinned alien in fancy robes. This was High Chancellor Kexmore, leader of the hegemony government. Behind him, Kate could see smoke rising from burning buildings. The alien empire was tearing itself apart as subject species rebelled against their former masters. "Admiral Williams," the alien leader said in broken English, "the Hegemony Council formally requests a meeting to discuss terms of surrender." Kate let the alien wait for a few moments before responding. She wanted him to understand that humans were no longer the desperate, outgunned species he had tried to destroy. "Chancellor, the Terran Federation will consider meeting with hegemony representatives. However, any talks must include discussion of war crimes committed against innocent species throughout the galaxy." The alien's large eyes widened with fear. "War crimes? The hegemony has always acted according to galactic law." "Whose law?" Kate asked coldly. The law you wrote to justify 50,000 years of conquest and murder? That law no longer applies. There's a new power in this galaxy now. Meanwhile, Dr. Paul Martinez had become the most important scientist on Earth. His quantum research division was studying captured alien technology and improving upon it. The humans weren't just copying hegemony designs, they were making them better. In his new laboratory complex on Mars, Paul worked with a team that included both human scientists and alien prisoners of war. The aliens had initially refused to cooperate, but they changed their minds when they realized the humans were treating them far better than the hegemony had ever treated its conquered subjects. Dr. Zextel, the former science officer from Admiral Vextar's flagship, had become Paul's most valuable assistant. The alien was amazed by human creativity and innovation. Dr. Martinez, your species approaches quantum manipulation in ways we never considered, Zextel said as they worked on a new shield design. The hegemony has used the same basic techniques for thousands of years. Humans have developed 17 new applications in just 6 months, Paul nodded. That's because we didn't have thousands of years of tradition telling us what was impossible. Sometimes being primitive is an advantage. The new shield technology they were developing would make human ships nearly invulnerable to any known weapon. Combined with improved versions of the quantum disruption array, humanity was becoming the dominant military force in the galaxy. Captain Sam Davis had been promoted to admiral and now commanded the first human exploration fleet. His mission was to contact the species that had been enslaved by the hegemony and offer them freedom and protection. Sam's flagship, the UES Liberator, arrived at the world of Kepler 442b, where a species called the Altarians had been forced to mine rare metals for the hegemony for 300 years. The Altarians were small, peaceful beings who had never developed weapons of war. When Sam's ships appeared in their skies, the Altarians prepared for another round of abuse from their galactic masters. Instead, they received a message that changed their world forever. People of Kepler 442b, this is Admiral Davis of the Terran Federation. The hegemony no longer controls the system. You are free. Any hegemony forces remaining on your world have been ordered to surrender immediately. The Altarian leader, a being called Soft Singer of Morning Rain, couldn't believe what she was hearing. Are you saying the hegemony has been defeated? But they are the masters of all space. Not anymore, Sam replied. Humanity destroyed their fleet and captured their technology. We're offering protection to all species that want to be free from hegemony rule. Within weeks, 37 different alien species had asked for human protection. The Terran Federation found itself leading a galactic alliance of liberated worlds, all united in their opposition to hegemony tyranny. President Helen Crawford addressed the new galactic alliance from Earth's capital. Helen was 51 years old and had been elected just before the alien invasion. Now she was the most powerful leader in the galaxy. Friends and allies, Helen said to the assembly of 200 different species. 6 months ago, humanity faced extinction at the hands of hegemony forces. Today, we stand together as free peoples, united by our common belief that no species has the right to dominate others. The assembly erupted in cheers and sounds of approval from dozens of different alien throats. Species that had been enemies for centuries were now working together under human leadership. Captain Jake Morrison had been given a new mission: hunting down the remaining hegemony war criminals who had escaped during the collapse of their empire. His ship, the USS Justice, was equipped with the latest human-designed technology. Jake found Admiral Vextar hiding on a remote asteroid base, trying to organize resistance against the new galactic order. The former hegemony commander had aged terribly during his months as a fugitive. Admiral Vextar, you're under arrest for crimes against sapient beings, Jake announced as his troops surrounded the alien. Vextar looked at Jake with hatred and disbelief. This is impossible. The hegemony has ruled for 50,000 years. We are the superior species. You're just primitive animals who got lucky. Jake shook his head. We're the species that figured out how to turn your strength against you. That makes us the superior ones now. As Vextar was led away in chains, Jake reflected on how much had changed. Humanity had gone from facing extinction to leading the galaxy in less than a year. Dr. Lisa Carter had been appointed as Earth's first xenobiological ambassador. Her job was to help different alien species learn to work together in the new galactic alliance. It was challenging work, but incredibly rewarding. In her final report to the Terran Federation Council, Lisa wrote, "The hegemony fell not because they were technologically inferior, but because they never learned to adapt. They spent 50,000 years using the same tactics and the same technology, never imagining that someone might find a new approach." She continued, "Humanity succeeded because we had to. We were outnumbered, outgunned, and fighting for our survival. That desperation forced us to think creatively and take risks that a comfortable empire would never consider. The transformation was complete. Humanity had become the guardians of galactic freedom, protecting smaller species from those who would exploit them. The age of the hegemony was over." Admiral Vexitar, now imprisoned on Earth, was interviewed by human historians who wanted to understand the hegemony mindset. In one of his final recorded statements, he said, "We underestimated you completely. In 50,000 years of conquest, no species had ever defeated us so decisively. Perhaps it was time for a new order in the galaxy. As human ships spread across the stars, they carried a simple message to oppressed worlds everywhere. The age of the hegemony is over. The age of freedom has begun. The galaxy would never be the same again."